All right, we are live. Let me see if I don't even see where I can put a comment in. Um, oh well, I was going to try something, but I don't see any way to do it. So never mind that. All right, hello, I'm Howard Mann, creator of Conscious Shifting, and welcome to Conscious Shifting. Let's start with the question of the week, which is, what's the difference between consciousness and mind? That's actually a really deep and profound question. So, the mind is an inseparable part of the mind body, that thing that you're temporarily inhabiting. You can think of the mind as a meeting place for thoughts, emotions, and consciousness. Consciousness, on the other hand, is in essence awareness. However, there are many levels of consciousness. So, to try to help answer your question, let me give you the three basic levels. You could split hairs into an infinite number levels of consciousness, but basically there's three there, and they come with huge shifts. So the first one is that you're identified with your thoughts and emotions, thinking that you're one and the same, and that's actually pretty low level stuff. It's basically consists of waking and sleeping states, and almost like a human robot. Your thoughts come up. You speak and act on them without really giving it much thought. The second major stage or level of consciousness is when you realize, perhaps through meditation, that your thoughts and emotions are something you have, but not who you are. And this is a higher level of consciousness that's aware of itself, but still identified with the mind, body, and the physical world. It believes, in that viewpoint, and that there's not a whole lot else that, at that level that you accept as reality. Now, moving beyond that, you go into a much higher state of consciousness, which normally it's referred to as spiritual consciousness. And although there's a lot of levels of that, it's in general awareness that you are in this world, but not of this world. You're temporarily in the human condition, temporarily traveling in a mind body through a physical universe of time and space. Now, spiritual consciousness is not a product of your mind body, nor anything in the physical world, which is why it's a much, much, much higher level of consciousness. Spiritual consciousness is awareness of and identification with eternal consciousness. You see the big shift here? One, at the very basic levels, there's not really much of an identity to speak of. It's just acting on thoughts and emotions. The next one, realizing that there's something you have, but not who you are. But still, you think you're this human animal living in this physical world, and that is the reality. Then you make that quantum jump into spiritual consciousness, where you realize that you're here in what appears to be a physical realm, but you're actually consciousness or spirit. And so you begin to live your life from that perspective. So in essence, we're all part of this eternal supreme consciousness. It's just that not everybody's aware of it. In fact, very few are. And together, we make up the whole of supreme consciousness, or God is another way to look at it. All parts of the whole. So emanating from that common source were expressed as individualized streams of consciousness or souls. That's really what a soul is. So a visualization of this would be to um, think about, a metaphor would be to think about rays of sunshine emanating from the sun, rays of light that are emanating from a common source, connected to that source, and in fact, making up that common source. All those light rays make up the sun. Yet they're they're somewhat individualized. So you can see a ray of light shooting off of the sun, but it's still connected to the sun, and the sun's where it's coming from. And if you take all those individualized or apparently individualized rays of light, then and you put them all together, you have the sun. You don't if you take one away. So a soul is to God what a ray of sunshine is to the sun. That's an easier way to understand all of this. But spiritual source is supreme consciousness. Transcendence into supreme consciousness can be understood as oneness consciousness or God consciousness. Mind is always subject to change, whereas supreme consciousness always is what it is, always has been, always will be. That's what I mean when I say always is what it is. It just is. You can't really describe it. As soon as you start describing it, you're no longer talking about it. You're talking about your ideas about it. So I hope that helps. I mean, I could write books about levels of consciousness and some of the characteristics of each, but in general, the mind is just something that you have while you're in a mind body, whereas consciousness is what you are. It's eternal, whereas mind is temporary. And I like to think of the mind as the middle energy center, where you decide uh, whether you're going to see things from the viewpoint of the ego or see things with divine guidance. So you have your upper energy center, which is downloading this divine guidance. You have your middle energy center, which is basically the mind making these decisions. And then the lower energy center, which manifests that into reality based on your decision. So there's an upcoming book all about just that. That's how deep you can go with this stuff. But that's a really profound question, and I thank you for that. So moving on, tonight's topic is meditation improves health. But before we go any further, I'd like to welcome everybody to Conscious Shifting and warn you that conscious shifting and all known side effects will benefit and improve your physical, mental, and spiritual health while creating the ideal environment for spiritual awakening, helping you live the life of your dreams and influencing the world in a positive way. So let's see who we have in here. Oh, and there's the comment thing I was looking for at the beginning. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Now, if that shows up, we'll see. I push send, so hopefully it does. If it does, that's the link to the book. The book is now live on Amazon. So if that shows up, you can use that link. If it doesn't show up, then you can go to Amazon and type in Howard Mann, and the books will come up. All right, so I see Tina and Heidi and Kathy and Kim. I know. That was a really deep question and I mean, I couldn't even begin to do it justice in just a little bit. But it was so good of a question that I wanted to use it as the question of the week. I could probably do a whole live on that. In fact, I'm sure that I will. And part of that is going to be included in the next book. Hi, Susan. How you doing? Hi, Richard. Hi, Cheryl. Love, laugh, and be happy in the house. Hi, Carrie. Gut solar plexus. Yes. So what I was referring to there is if you think about the chakra system, they break it down into three. The three, well, I shouldn't say that because even in the chakra system, there's all kinds of them. But normally you have seven. The lower three deal with the physical world. Um, I tend to just explain things in three basic energy centers: the divine or the higher consciousness, the heart or the mind center, and then the lower energy center, which manifests into reality. Hi, Tony. Hey, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. All right, so here we go. Meditation improves health. Now, meditation has been highly regarded for thousands of years, and in large part because of its many health benefits, especially relaxation of body and mind. Relaxation, as it turns out, is the ideal state for healing the body and mind. Meditation is the art of consciously shifting our mind body into a state of relaxation. Therefore, meditation improves health. And many experts consider it to be essential for healthy living. So, poor sickness, or I should say, poor health, sickness, and disease are states of imbalance. And this applies to both mental and physical disease. So imbalance creates stress on the body and the mind, and this stress creates dis-ease or disease. There are four major categories of stress or imbalance. The first one is basically a healthy or acceptable range, and in this range, the fluctuations are normal. It's just your daily living, waking, sleeping, stuff like your breathing, your heart rate, your blood pressure. Those are all going to fluctuate depending on what you're doing, your activity. Then there's the next, which is I would say a minor imbalance or stress, and these are caused by unpleasant experiences, um, and things like excessive thinking, overworking tends to stress people out, and then that's reflected in our general health. So changes that fall into the unhealthy range, and even things like exercise, I mean, they can stress you out. But the thing is that most minor imbalances are temporary, and therefore we tend to typically recover from them without, you know, too much wear and tear and without too much trouble. Then we move into moderate imbalances or stress. And this category is unhealthy. And it doesn't matter if it's temporary or not, it's just unhealthy. So when we get too far out of our healthy range, then we start damaging ourselves. We start reaping havoc on our health. This category would include things like exposure to toxins or drugs, or I should say overexposure to toxins or drugs, basically poisoning. Another is moderate emotional trauma, events such as the death of a loved one or a divorce. These are, things that cause mental and physical stress. And moderate illness or infection would be included in this. Now, the thing is, we typically recover from these imbalances, but it takes longer. And there's always the possibility of some permanent damage, both mentally and physically. So this is something, this moderate level of stress is something that you kind of need to be aware of. And then, of course, you could move into a major imbalance or stress. And this category would include things that would cause severe damage or even death, extreme exposure to poisons, major physical trauma, major mental trauma, and chronic illness. So that's how varied the stress is. Now, it turns out that meditation works on all of those levels. So we can use it to kind of govern our health. Let's see if I've missed anything here. Susan, yours will probably be going out the end of this week. I think I'm going to go Friday and send that out to you. So I don't know how long it'll take, but sometime next week you should have it by the end of next week for sure. Hi, Sherry. Okay, so here's the thing that prolonged imbalance, even if it's minor, will probably result in ill health. Most serious disease does not start out as serious, it accumulates over time. So, meditation, one of the things that it does, one of the ways that it improves our health is by returning the body to balance. So, it doesn't allow these things to go on for extended periods of time. A healthy body is going to bounce back. So, even if you've picked up a bug somewhere, you're going to bounce back much faster if you're healthy and balanced. Meditation helps make you healthy and balanced. But prolonged imbalance breaks down our ability to recover. And eventually, unbalanced health becomes serious disease. Modern medicine, with drugs and surgery, attempts to restore balance. That's really what they're doing. And as a result, then that balance allows the body to heal. Natural medicine seeks to do the same thing, it just uses alternative methods. So, a wonderful alternative is meditation. And there's a time and place for everything. It's both naive and dangerous to ignore either modern medicine or natural natural medicine. For example, if you have your arm torn off in an accident, meditation is not the best treatment plan. After surgery, however, meditation will improve your health by speeding up the healing process and helping you manage the pain. So it can be used even in situations where you require surgery or some other treatment. It can be used as complementary medicine. Now, not seeking the appropriate medical attention when necessary is dangerous. But then drugs and surgery are not always the answer either, and rarely the best choice. No amount of medical treatments is going to cure lifestyle. So nearly all disease is preventable. Did you know that? That nearly all disease is preventable. There's 2% of the population that has some sort of a birth defect. Short of that, and even with those individuals, 98% of their biology is working fine. And the other, 98% of the population, their entire biology is working fine, or at least it was at some point. So something's happening that's causing a healthy individual to become diseased. And stress plays a part in all of that. Meditation is the best thing I know of to manage that stress and help alleviate it. So, because you can nearly all disease is preventable, so then you would say, all right, well then prevention is the best plan, right? Better not to get sick in the first place. And meditation helps you maintain balance. So sometimes things get out of balance, and then you can use meditation to help you return to balance. Returning to balance should be done as soon as possible. So this allows the healing process to take place before the issue becomes serious. And that's one of the many reasons why I tell people, it's important that you meditate every day. It doesn't have to be 20 hours a day. It doesn't even have to be an hour a day. If you have 30 minutes or 20 minutes, that's great. If not, 15 or 10, whatever you can do that you will do every day is far more important than how long you do it. Let me see if I've missed anything here. Carrie, my heart is broken losing my dad and my partner of half my life. So much loss of life this year. Part of my heart and soul is gone, never getting that back. And meditation. Well, uh you're I understand what you're saying. I do. I really do. And I feel for you. Um, it's moving on isn't a big deal for the people that do. You know, they're like, "Woo, this is great." The people that are left are the ones that, you know, if there's any suffering, they're the ones that do. And it's because of that um sense of loss. And that's normal. I mean, you care about somebody, you enjoy their company, and then they're gone. That can be, especially if it wasn't expected, that can be a real shocker. And in that sense, yes, they're no longer in the physical world, so the things that you used to do with them here, you're not going to be able to do. But that relationship is not gone. That connection that you have to them is not gone. Your ability to communicate with them on a spiritual level or on an energetic level is not gone. None of the things that you did with them are gone. Those memories are events, they were moments in life, and they will always be such. None of that has changed. And your soul is still complete. Now, your heart may feel like it's breaking, and that's kind of normal. Human bodies come with emotions. And so, we're going to experience those emotions. But just keep things in perspective. You know, you're a spiritual being temporarily in a human body, and the emotions are just something that come with that body. They're not real, they're not who you are, but you experience them as real. you know you'll experience a sense of loss as pain, and it'll feel real, but it's just a sensation of the body. And like I say, the bigger picture is that their souls, your soul, are always going to be what they've always been. That never changes. Only things here in this realm change, and that's why I say they're an illusion. If they were real, then they would be permanent, but they're not, are they? So it's all an illusion, but we play the game of life just the same. So I feel for you, but just keep it. Meditation will help you connect to your higher self, to spiritual source, and let that flow through you. And you actually, you can communicate when you're connected. You can communicate with them just as you always have. It won't necessarily. I mean, you can talk physically to them if you want, but you don't even have to do that. Uh, you with your consciousness, you can converse, and if you're really quiet, you'll hear. In a sense, you'll know their response. So take that as comfort and confirmation. Kim says no medical treatment will cure lifestyle. No, no, it won't. No, it won't. You're both right on with that too, Melissa and Kim. Helping carry there. Okay, so exactly, you don't get over it, you go through it. Yeah, we've had, in fact, we've had, I don't even know. I lost track, but the last year and a half or so, we've lost 30 close family members and friends. And just this last weekend, we were in Oatman, Arizona for a celebration of life. I mean, it's just, it happens, it does. So stress can do a lot of damage. However, a relaxed state will do a lot of good. So you want to deal with this stuff before it comes serious. And that's where meditation comes in. Relaxation is the ideal state for prevention. Actually, the ideal state, period. No issues, just a happy, healthy, long life. But we're not always relaxed, are we? Something happens and we react to it, and now we're stressed. So then relaxation is also the ideal state for maintenance, because in this state, it naturally rejuvenates the mind body. This relaxation, the state of relaxation I'm talking about, that meditation allows you to slip into. And as if that weren't enough, relaxation is also the ideal state for healing. So if something has actually been damaged, the body will heal better and faster when relaxed. And it will, or can, do things that are considered miraculous in terms of dealing with disease and disability. Most of you know, but I'm a cancer survivor. Most of you know I was paralyzed at one time, or partially paralyzed. I walk now without the use of a cane or a walker. In fact, I walk quite a bit. Meditation was one of the primary things that I did and still do to facilitate that healing process far beyond what is supposed to be medically possible. So, there I'm speaking from experience. I've done it. So there's no doubt in my mind that it's possible because I've done it. And there's a lot of other people I know that have had similar results. Now, is it, guaranteed 100% no matter what? No, because there's other things involved. There's your belief system, there's your karma, there's all kinds of other stuff going on. But you have far more control over this stuff than you realize, far more. So what happens when we get stressed for whatever reason is that stress inhibits or prevents the normal body functions required for good health. That's why I say stress is an imbalance. And there's something many of you've probably heard of before, heard me talk about it before, but it's something critical to understand with regards to stress in your health, because there's something called the stress response. And briefly, what that is a major contributor to ill health and disease. And that's directly in our control, because with meditation, we can shut down that stress response. The stress response is also known as the fight or flight syndrome. So what it is, it's the body's response to life-threatening events. Signs of stress response include elevated breath and heart rates, increased blood pressure, anxiety, fear, increased muscle tension. So what's happening is that the body, in an effort to deal with the threat, shuts down non-essential functions. Now, non-essential in an emergency. So the body does this so that it can divert the energy that was going to those systems to other areas that are essential in an emergency. If there's a threat to your life, then you need to either battle the threat, fight, or escape the threat, flight, fight or flight syndrome, right? Both of these require strong, fast, gross motor movements. It takes a lot of energy to do that. So the energy is diverted from other areas of your body, but at what expense? Some of the functions that shut down during a stress response are the immune system, the digestion system, as well as most health and healing functions. Blood vessels constrict, and that reduces blood flow to some areas of the body, and then more blood will flow to other areas of the body, and that's how this energy, nutrients, etc., are diverted. So something else that happens that's kind of interesting about all this is that, when we're stressed and we go into stress response, blood is restricted from the thinking part of our brain, our higher consciousness. Consequently, more blood then flows to the subconscious, the reactionary part of our brain. In an emergency, there's not a lot of time. So you can't sit around and think about things. You need to react. And that's the purpose of martial arts training. In fact, when you get right down to it, it's to train the body to react. Because in a real life threatening emergency, a few seconds is usually going to determine whether you're going to survive or not. So, this reactionary part of the brain just reacts. It doesn't think. There's no time involved in it. These big motors that or big muscles that the energy is being diverted to, they're not real fine tuned, but they're strong. They're very powerful muscles, so you can run fast, you can hit hard, this kind of stuff. Now, if you survive, then the body's naturally going to shut down the stress response, and then that's going to be followed by the body bringing these systems that were shut down back online. But the thing to understand here is that the stress response by design was for surviving emergencies, meaning rare and short-term use, and then balance is restored. But what if that balance wasn't? And that's really the heart of this whole conversation tonight. What if the balance wasn't? Some systems are shut down as non-essential in an emergency, but these systems are essential to life, especially healthy life. So, for example, how long would you imagine that you could go without a properly functioning immune system? Right? I mean, that's what keeps your body cleansed of disease. If that's not functioning right, you're going to catch cold and flu bugs or other diseases, or the body's just going to start breaking down and it's going to cause disease. There's all kinds of ways it can happen, but that is what the immune system prevents. So if you're stressed out and that immune system's not functioning properly, guess what? It's going to contribute to ill health and eventually disease. What about your digestive system? If your digestive system isn't working properly, how are you going to digest your food and extract the nutrients necessary for the body to maintain and repair itself? You're not. Healing functions. The body's constantly, repairing damaged tissue, replacing cells as they die off, destroying free radicals, this kind of stuff. So without these healing functions, how long do you think it's going to be before you're going to have some major problems? What about elevated breath and heart rates? How long before you're going to start wearing your body out? Heart disease, for example. If you're constantly stressed and your heart's just working and working and working, it's like your car engine. If you just got on the freeway and floored it and just held it floored and never let up, eventually you're going to blow the engine. Well, the same thing's going to happen to your heart. Blood pressure, same thing, increased blood pressure, anxiety, and muscle tension. These things, the body and the mind are work in unison. So one can affect the other. If the physical can affect the mental can affect the physical. So you can have both mental and physical disorders simply because some of these systems aren't functioning properly because you're stressed. Now, here's the thing. Today's lifestyles can keep us in stress response for extended periods of time. Overworking, we tend to have, ridiculous workloads and work schedules, information overload. constant input of everything under the sun. Every time your phone gives you a notification, something happens, in the family, around the world, on the news, um, on Facebook, on whatever you're on. So there's always this, constant information, massive amounts of it. Substance abuse. A lot of people then, get stressed out or anxious or depressed or whatever. So they start self medicating and it ends up being substance abuse. Lack of sleep, you know, all of this stuff going on. If you can't relax, you're probably going to have problems getting a good night's sleep. Um, Poor diet, today's lifestyles, both because of our schedules and, you know, um, and the availability of really high quality food, to be honest. A lot of people just snack, or eat fast food or whatever because it's quick and easy, and it's you're causing a tremendous amount of stress on the body and damage. Drama, I mean, look at, my God, what goes on in our lives, and in politics and on the world stage, and it just drama, 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 drama. Um, Hectic schedule. So all of this stuff, these modern lifestyles, tends to keep us in elevated um, stress levels. The list goes on and on and on. But here's the thing: our bodies don't differentiate between immediate life-threatening situations and other types of stress. When this stress response was um, evolving, and when it came into being and evolved, it was life-threatening events. Maybe back in the day, the classic example is being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. And so your thoughts were that, oh, there's a danger. And that thought energy going down to the body then started this whole chain reaction of the stress response. The body doesn't know, you know, that it's a saber-toothed tiger, or Jerry Springer. It doesn't really differentiate. All it knows is there's some stressful situation, and it equates that to a life-threatening event and starts the stress response. So think about that. And all those things I mentioned, lack of sleep, poor diet, all of those things are stressors. And so all your body knows is the signals coming in telling it that there's a threat, that something's wrong, there's danger. And consequently, the body then initiates the stress response. Let's make sure I don't have any questions I've missed. Ken says, then we get stuck on ego and react instead of respond. Yes, exactly. In an emergency, that's exactly what happens. We're far less intelligent because we're not thinking, we're reacting. Or worse, we're immobilized in fear. Um, Malfunctioning. Well, it's in some ways we all have that issue. Melissa says that trauma tends to lead to hypervigilance, and your body is constantly responding to stimulus internally and externally. Yes. Yes. So if we're not doing something to calm that down, living in this hyper state, this stressed state, and that's going to reap havoc on both our mental and our physical health, which, I mean, then is also going to reap havoc on your spiritual health, right? Because you're not going to, it's kind of hard to when you're all stressed out, right? It doesn't really work. Um, Being that calm, still connected to spirit. Well, if you're not calm and still, it's kind of hard to connect, right? If you're distracted by all this crap going on, then that's going to rule the day. So, stress, I mean, you know, excessive stress, that is, in and of itself, is a killer. It kills people. Um, there are cases of people being so stressed out they drop dead on the spot just because of some radical, terrifying event going on. Other times it's prolonged. It's cancer becomes a thing, heart disease becomes a thing, because whatever the stressor is that's causing those cells to malfunction, or the heart to work too hard, or the mind to be anxious, or whatever, that's not dealt with. And so over time it just devolves into more and more and more of a serious situation. And then it actually, even though maybe it's relatively minor, over a long period of time, that relatively low level of stress being constant can end up actually being a real life threatening emergency. So even minor or moderate levels of stress are dangerous if they go on too long. Hypertension, heart disease, anxiety, cancer, and almost every other disease is due to stress. Now, staying in the fight or flight syndrome for extended periods of time results in disease. It's just that simple. And many people spend so much time in the stress response that they don't even recognize that they're stressed anymore. They just think it's normal. Oh, this is the way every day is. It's just the way life is. It doesn't need to be. It's not healthy. And there are other ways to live your life other than being, just this ball of stress. So, I wouldn't say that it's normal. There's a lot of people that do it. So it might be, kind of the mainstream, but that doesn't make it right and it doesn't make it healthy. It just makes it common. In other words, I think I would even go that far is that it's a widespread illness is what it is. So this always on, never off lifestyle is killing us, um, in a whole variety of ways, and it's making life much more miserable than it needs to be. So we're either in stress or relaxation. And it doesn't mean, when I use these words, language really on a lot of this stuff doesn't do it justice, especially spirituality. But even here, I mean, I'm not talking like stress, like you're, it doesn't have to be that. It can just be a little on edge, but never go away. That will eventually cause anxiety, heart disease, sleep problems, and they just keep compiling and compounding the problem. Same with relaxation. I don't mean that you're just like so chilled out that you never do anything, you're not motivated. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that the mind body is generally in a relaxed state, able to function in a relaxed state and view the world and interpret what's going on in a relaxed state, not in this hyper state where it's just freaking out and irrational and just you know look at the world. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't need to be that way. So we're either in a stress response or we're not. We're either in a relaxed state or we're not. And managing that stress dramatically improves both physical and mental health. So meditation is an extremely effective tool for managing stress because meditation shuts down the stress response and triggers the relaxation response. Therefore, we can consciously relax the mind body. And as a result, meditation then improves our health, by helping us maintain balance, because health is the art of balance. Balance is the art of relaxation, and relaxation is the art of meditation. So critical, not just for being the foundation of spirituality, but critical just for living a happy, healthy life. You know, if you went around and all the people that are having health problems and stressed out and all this, I almost guarantee that none of them meditate regularly. So, and if they had, they probably wouldn't be dealing with that stuff. But it can also be used to help cure that stuff. Now, eventually something's going to get you. I mean, that's just the way life is here. But for the most part, you can live a much longer, much healthier, much happier life just by spending a few minutes a day in meditation. And it can be your go-to instead of, running to the doctor for every treatment and drug under the sun or self-medicating or any of this. There's a time and place for that stuff. If you're in over your head and you need help, then you're in over your head and you need help. But what I'm saying is that you can avoid 98% of that. So it's huge. Okay, let's see if there's any last minute questions here before we move on to the healing circle. And we'll work with this a little bit. Carrie, anxiety and sleep is definitely a factor. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, Katja. How you doing? Hi, Mary. Elliot, welcome. Okay. Kim, did you take care of that? Because I don't see the three dots. All right. Melissa is saying, did you catch the article about the gentleman that passed while having an EKG for epilepsy? They caught 30 seconds of brain activity that mimicked the same frequency of meditation. No, I hadn't seen that. But I was talking to Kim about some future books, and there's a lot of stuff like that we're going to get into in the future books, near-death experiences, and of all things, organ transplants. I mean, there's some weird stuff that happens with that. So it's fascinating, and it kind of helps confirm some of the stuff that we talk about here. But no, I hadn't caught that. Okay, there we go again with why I don't see. Hi, Yellowhammer, how you doing? Right back at you. Kim, let me know if you took care of that. Indeed, Richard. Like the rays of the sun, we are the soul of consciousness. Love being here and coming closer to what's real or true. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, I was wondering because when I saw it, I couldn't find the three dots. All right, yeah, someone went crazy. Sorry about that, folks. It happens. We don't have any control over that, but that particular person won't be a problem again. They have been permanently blocked from the page. All right, so let's do a little healing circle here. We'll put this one up. There we go. Okay, so let me get a drink of tea real fast. I think we have time to do something. So you can use this. This will, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling stressed, uh, um, if you're exhausted, and sometimes you get exhausted and you're so tired and so distracted, um, emotionally upset. Sometimes it's hard to uh, relax yourself. So this is something that it's kind of a combination of just a it's not like a formal meditation like we normally do, but it's not far off there either. It's just you can consciously direct things while you're in meditation, and this will really help. So just like a normal meditation, nice comfortable upright position, feet flat on the floor, hands gently resting on your thighs or knees. You want to be upright, not overdoing it, but you want the spine erect, eyes and mouth gently closed, breathing through the nose down to the lower energy center, just below the belly button, and then exhaling back out through the nose. So, nice deep breath. And then exhale all tension. And again, breathe in peace. And exhale tension. And again, nice deep breath. Inhaling peace. And then exhale all tension, troublesome thoughts, stress, disease, whatever is troubling you in any way, let it go right on out with the breath. Now, that alone in itself, if you just sit and do that, will tremendously help. But you can take it further. Continue breathing on your own. And just as you start to feel the relaxation, don't fight it. Just let it happen. Don't try and force anything. But as you do the deep breathing, the body's going to start slowing down and relaxing, and just let that process happen. But you can consciously work it a little bit. Wherever you direct your consciousness, your energy is going to go there. So as you're breathing in, just consciously focus. Let's begin with the feet. So consciously think about your feet as you're breathing in. And then as you exhale, let all the tension dissipate out of your feet. And again, nice deep breath, focusing on your feet. And then exhale, letting all tension dissipate out of your feet. And again, deep breath, focusing on your feet. And then as you exhale, let all tension, pain dissipate out of your feet. Moving up to the legs, the calves, the shins, the knees. Inhale, focusing on those areas, the upper legs, the thighs. And then as you exhale, release all tension out of those areas. And again, deep breath, focusing on your legs. And you can go ahead and breathe at your own pace. You can actually sometimes feel or see or sense the muscles relaxing, expanding, the joints expanding, and the tension releasing. And so just let that happen. That's healing taking place. That's energy healing taking place. So just again, we don't want to force it, but just let it happen. Another deep breath, focusing on the legs, and exhale all tension, pain. Moving up to the hips as we breathe in, focusing on the hips and the lower back and abdomen, and then exhale all tension out of those areas. And again, deep breath, focusing on the hips, the lower back, the abdomen, and then exhale all tension from those areas. And again, deep breath, focusing on the lower back, the abdomen, and the hips. And as you exhale, let all tension and pain release from those areas. Actually, know that your hips are expanding, that the compressed back is expanding, that the muscles are relaxing and stretching out. Again, deep breath, this time focusing on the chest and the upper back, the shoulders, the arms, and the hands. And then as you exhale, let all tension release out of those areas. And again, focusing on the chest, the upper back, the shoulders, the arms, and the hands as you inhale. And then as you exhale, let all tension and pain dissipate from those areas. And again, nice deep breath, focusing on the chest, the upper back, the shoulders, the arms, and the hands, all the way to the tips of your fingers. And as you exhale, all tension being released. Now moving up to the neck, the face, the temples, even the crown. As you inhale, with the mind's eye, direct attention to those areas, letting those muscles expand, the joints relax, and then as you exhale, the tension release, and the healing taking place. And again, as you breathe in, focusing on the neck, the facial muscles, the temples, the crown, and as you exhale, releasing all tension and pain from those areas. Like you're getting lighter, your head's starting to float a little bit. Just let that happen. And one more time, deep breath, focusing on the neck, the face, the temples, all the way up to the crown, the top of the skull. And as you exhale, releasing all tension, all pain, all troublesome thoughts, all disease, all the stress from the day. Now that you're relaxed, you're safe, everybody join hands. No harm will come to you. Completely let go. Holding hands, but completely let go mentally. Let your consciousness expand as far as it wants to expand. Out into the circle, beyond the circle, out into the universe, beyond the universe. Just let it happen. Let yourself relax into consciousness. And in that relaxation, you can connect with your higher self, with spirit, perfection, no stress, no disease, no pain, just consciousness. And let's sit with that for about a minute and then we'll continue. Okay. Everybody feeling good? Now, before we close, let's send this healing energy out to the world and all of its inhabitants. Peace to all. And so it is. Okay, slowly open your eyes. And if you have any last minute questions, go ahead and put them in the comment box, and then we'll call it a night. Let's see. There's all those. Awesome, Melissa. maybe I'll when I that book. I'm gonna write one on some stuff like that. Not this next one. It's gonna be on. You know, it's gonna be on awakening the healer within. That's what the next book's gonna be about. But beyond that, I am gonna get into some of those subjects. So maybe at that point we can discuss those stories. All right. Every night. You flatter me. But at least, we have Wednesday nights, and it's quite a bit of material. If you spend the week, taking that chunk, you'll do fine. We did have a great time out there. Ken's reminding everybody to drink water. Awesome, Katja. Okay, so that's a wrap for tonight. And until the next time, remember, the only way to bring about the greater good is to be the greater good. I honor the God within you.